Welcome back to Imperfect Parenting. Ben and Brittney here. We are at it again. Just us this week. One more time. We'll keep doing it till Seth shows up again, which we love having around, but just us. But we're talking through critical thinkers this month, which feels important. It's very much a part of the loving and purpose message and content and things we talk about.
It's true.
Just a little tuned in this time, and really excited for next week. That's all I'm going to say right now.
You won't want to miss it.
It's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one.
But we do have a meme.
We have a meme.
This is going to be understanding or some empathy from a lot of parents with toddlers. If you've ever had a toddler,
I would
you've
say,
experienced this.
Based off of this, we're probably preschool.
Sure.
That's
true.
Because
Okay.
the skill level in which we have presented here.
That's true. There's pretty high skill here. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to just give props to the fact that it's at least we're probably 4 or 5.
Well,
somewhere in there.
Before I describe it, I did want to say that this is probably some kind of European or Australian meme.
Okay.
Because it ends with the word humor.
But it's spelled
Humour. So for those who didn't know, humor and lots of other words like that, O-U-R.
They just put a U in everything.
It's probably where language began. So, all right. Here we go.
I just want you to know that our producer is laughing at you right now.
Did I just offend a bunch of Americans?
No, but you didn't offend us. You just rallied your forces.
Oh, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Aussies and Europeans. Commonwealth. Here we are. Okay. So this meme, I'm way off course here. We'll make some phone calls after this. Let me read the words to you first, and then we'll describe what's happening here. Your kids are going to do things they shouldn't. It helps if you married someone with a sense of humor. The sense of humor needed is when you look at this picture, it's a wall, like someone's wall in their house, and their child has drawn this, again, probably preschool stage house, like they've drawn a home on the wall. Like, you know what I want to draw today is a house. You know where I should draw it? On the wall.
It looks like it's in their living room because you can kind of see a chair and a window. And
then what the parents did, which is the humor part, is they went and framed that part of the wall with a picture frame and labeled it at the bottom like it's a piece of art in a cafe. Like this, it was this year.
Marker on latex paint.
Yeah.
Gifted to his parents by surprise, November 13th.
Interpreted house.
2017.
It's genius. So.
And then it's like obviously his name and when he was born. Okay, so that's probably how old he is. He's 6 or
so
5.
funny.
Yeah. So it's just pretty funny. It was clever because it looks like they just, instead of inserting a picture, they just put the frame around it. Yeah. I don't know how many of those they have around their house. That's what I'm curious is if it was welcomed.
Right.
Why don't we
Do we frame one of them, or is it frames all of it? Like, oh, you like it.
The best part is probably the placement. If you think about a 5-year-old where they would be drawing something on the wall, you would never frame anything that low to the ground.
Kneecap level. That's funny.
It's very true.
I call this one dog.
This
parents stick
is
in there.
Mom. I'm really glad that our kids never did that on the wall.
We had I remember the desks and Adeline. I think it was Adeline and Lainey, or no, it was Addie. Her desk was just like, what are you doing here? Are you missing the paper or on purpose? Like,
she was probably about 2 or 3 when you did those desks.
That's funny.
She drew all over them. Yeah. I think definitely the most terrified interpretive art I had, because this is of a house, was in Delaney's kindergarten booklet that they give you, like, I don't know, open house or the end of the school year when they graduate, they have like this look at all of our work that we've done. And she had to draw a picture of her family or something her family was doing. And she drew a picture of me, but I had just had Adeline not very long ago. And so it was me nursing Adeline. And so here I am just walking around what looks like topless, holding a baby. And I just remember thinking, oh, I'm so happy that this is in your booklet that your teacher had to put together.
That's awesome.
And who knows what parent that was there helping that day.
We call this one motherhood.
Yeah. So I'm glad that was on a piece of paper and not on the wall.
It is so funny. I mean, that's a whole other thing for parents to go look at.
The things that they do. We have this little, it literally looks like a treasure box in the attic full of their... Full to the brim.
We should go through
It's probably mostly Delaney's things because first child, I'll say is first child, but that's pretty funny. We could go through it because it'd be pretty funny. What we would see in there.
Yeah.
Now that she has a boyfriend, it'd be really entertaining to Landon, look at what Delaney drew. Her artwork. But we going through the thoughts of critical thinkers, we wanted to kind of just pull apart a little bit of that good pressure. You know, this place of it's okay to create some pressure for our kids, just to see what they're capable of, to help them see what they're capable of, to help them navigate problems in different light. And, you know, so putting that on display a bit more and how that we've learned to lean in and really utilizing the Holy Spirit in different areas. So, yeah, that's kind of the heart for today's episode is this good pressure, you know, and being able to challenge our kids to rise up and knowing what that pressure looks like for what different ages, I think is another thing that we wanted to throw out there.
Yeah, I think as parents, it's hard to watch your child struggle. You know, if you love your child, it's not fun to watch them struggle. It's not like you get joy out of the struggle.
No. But
when you understand what it's producing, you get joy out of partnering with them in the moment. Which is the Holy Spirit's part of this conversation too. Is you know, I think I just said the other day in some meeting or we're doing something like I don't think Jesus said, I'm going to send the Holy Spirit so there's no struggle anymore.
It's a struggle-free life over here, said no one.
He said, I'm
ever.
going to send you the Comforter because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
And so he's not necessarily here to rescue us from the learning and the consequence. He's here to comfort us through it so we can come out the other side changed and growing and different. And that's part of our role as parents, I think. And it does take some learning. It takes some practice. Like, okay, I'm with you. I'm right here next to you.
Yeah.
As I watch you struggle and feel the weight of this pressure, I'm right here. If you have questions, if I can give some ideas, I'm going to walk you through the whole way through it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to remove the appropriate pressure. You know, for a toddler, it might be, you can have that thing you really want as soon as your toys are cleaned up. And for a toddler, sometimes cleaning up toys is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is so much pressure. There's 4 toys.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about this, and I remembered we have this, one of our kids' books. We have 3 kids' books, if you didn't know that. I'm doing a plug right now, but there's 3 because there's 3 of us kids. So the Chicken Coop Kid, yours
Brittney.
truly. One of those days is about Levi. And
I cry every time I read that
I know,
book.
it's a great book. I mean, Taylor and I are a little jealous, I think, because he's got the best-selling book always. If everyone's going to buy one, it's that one because it's just a great story. So if you're curious, you should go and just get all 3 of them because they're great, or that one because that's what everyone buys. It's just that one. One of those days, it's just watching Levi have a hard day and my mom showing up being an amazing mom and reminding him of his identity. Basically, it's that one. But the one I was going to talk about today is Tay's book, Taylor. Tay, as we call him in the house. It's called Shorts in the Snow. And this is a story that I remember a lot more because of how many times we've talked about it. But if you're watching, it's really cute. And it's, you know, his red, white, and blue shorts, which is what this story is so famous about because he was 4 years old, I think, right in there. And we lived in Mount Shasta. Snow came. We all have our snow gear. We run out there. But Taylor was in love with these red, white, and blue shorts. And so he would wear them always. So he goes outside in the snow and it's cold. And part of what we wanted to talk about, which I love the story for, is instead of a parent jumping on Taylor saying, you can't go outside. Don't you dare go outside. You can't go outside until you have your snow pants on, which is a choice that we would normally give. They decided to empower him to be a critical thinker of how does it work out to wear shorts in the snow, which is what the book is called. And Levi and I in the story are having a great time. We are just loving life, building, snow forts, because that's what we did in Mount Shasta. And Taylor can't figure out what to do because he's cold as soon as he steps outside. And in the story, it's just him processing through and thinking about the decision in which he made without my parents' involvement. They're just very much encouraging him to be a critical thinker. So one of the best parts is my parents are, the illustration is just fun in here, but he's shivering on the front porch, and we're encouraging him to come out. And he realizes that these awesome shorts aren't so awesome in the snow, and maybe that they shouldn't be worn outside. And when he runs inside, I remember the line in the story. It's hard to get it in there because we were rhyming, so you had to make everything rhyme. But what happened when Taylor ran inside? My dad and mom were there waiting for him, and they said, "Hey, Tay, don't you want to go out play in the snow?" And he goes, "I gotta get pants on. It's cold," in this little tiny 4-year-old voice. But it's just a great display of how to practice, empowering a critical thinker at such a young age. Yeah. And I remember doing this with Delaney when she would go to preschool in a tank top and a skirt, and it's pouring down rain outside.
Or it was snowing one time.
It was. Yeah. And it's just this, I could fight you on it. I could put those boundaries in place, feel free to whatever as soon as you've got a jacket on. Or I can empower a critical thinker at a really young age. And, we only have one Shorts in the Snow book because he only did it one time. It's a great story. It's really fun. A cute illustration. If you didn't know, Delaney actually picked out the illustrator for all of these books when she was about 4 years old. So it's kid approved.
There you go.
Anyways, that was my ad for today's podcast, is you should go buy the kids' books. But it's just a great illustration of how to empower a young age kid by not involving yourself into the learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's what parents do all the time is I'm afraid of the struggle. I'm afraid of your failure. I'm afraid that it's going to be really hard for you. It's going to be really sad. It's going to look, it's going to be a mess. And sometimes I don't want to deal with maybe the tantrum, maybe the attitude. And so I will just insert myself and disrupt the learning that could be happening in order to create more peace for me. But really in the long term, it's robbing them of this learning opportunity.
Yeah, it's probably one of two things for parents. They're either trying to create the pressure themselves and kind of create this thing and make it up, or they're rescuing the child from any form of pressure. So the consequence that becomes the teacher is removed. Yeah. And that's kind of what we're talking about. And I think there's lots of different consequences, and as they grow up, they change and shift. And Delaney gets a job, her first job, and there's always consequences, good and bad, that she's learning about in how she shows up, what's required of her, and there's now this pressure on her to figure out what she's going to do with herself, and she's done a great job. But it was her navigating through pressure, and that started way back when she's going to class in a tank top and it's snowing outside. Do you want this or that? No. All right. Let's talk about it later.
Yeah. Well, the fun part is, with school, she went to school in her tank top and skirt and whatever shoes she put on. But it wasn't like she was going to go play all day, and it was a limited amount of time. She's only there half day or whatever. And the school wasn't going to let her go outside without a jacket.
That's the pressure.
That's where she's got to learn. Oh, I didn't listen to what my mom and dad's wisdom was, which is fine. This is the part where she's got to reassess critically. So tomorrow, if the snow's still on the ground and I dress like this without a jacket, I don't get to go play. Yeah. Or I'm too cold, so I don't play outside for very long because I have to come inside because I'm too cold to be out there. But I want there to be lots of learning opportunity, and I want it to happen way back here.
Yeah.
When it is shorts in the snow, not when it's, your first job experience or your first apartment and you lost your deposit because you didn't do a very good job of critically thinking, if I never clean my bathroom toilet, probably won't matter, even if I lived here for 9 months. Well, it will. It will matter. You got to clean your stuff. Otherwise, you don't get your deposit back. Or I got a dog just because I thought it'd be fun and I forgot to tell my landlord and it's ruined the carpet. Oh, there goes your security deposit again. Like, I want you to learn over here. I don't want you to have to learn over there because that's way more costly and expensive. It's not life or death. It's just, let's learn it over here.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
And I think with the shorts in the snow illustration and story as well, and stories like that, it really is a safe environment.
Yes.
I think I've heard parents feel scared when they hear these kind of stories, like, well, they're going to catch a cold. Something bad's going to happen.
Pneumonia.
Yeah. Well, from one time, if they're freezing outside, they're probably going to figure it out. And we want them to. Like, there's a learning happening that I probably couldn't create by just talking to you and telling you to put on pants. Well, I'm not sure why I'm putting on pants other than my parents mad at me. So I want you to not be mad at me. Yeah. So there's a safe environment in these little learning opportunities, like Delaney going to kindergarten.
Sure.
And showing up, and she finds out, I didn't get to go outside and play.
Yeah. There's always going to be the parents who say, well, you don't know my kid because I've done this. And, I think maybe the consequence to this is that they might have to experience, that they get a cold and then they miss out on the birthday party. And, oh, dang, I think why you got a cold is because you keep playing outside in a tank top and shorts, and it's 35 degrees outside. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry you're sick. That's never fun to be sick, But I don't think a cold is gonna hurt them to that point. I think that it's opportunity. This is also the beauty of the Holy Spirit is you've got to lean into when should you create that boundary. Feel free to as soon as, and when can you. I don't know how that's going to work out for you, but you're welcome to try it. You might be cold, but that's probably where I would be leaning in is if you've got a strong-willed, intense kid that's like their way or the highway. Don't see those kids as trying to take you out. They're really just trying to learn how strong am I? How capable am I? What happens? Because they're the leaders of the world. We're not all built like that. But those kids, they need to figure out what is their capacity. Yeah. And so by being intimidated in that, or by being afraid of that, or trying to control that rather than help develop that, I think this is where we get in trouble. And so those strong-willed kids, you don't know my kid. I don't know your kid, but I know a bunch of other kids that are like your kids. I was your kid. Okay, let's just say that. I would say help them figure out what their capacity is rather than trying to rein them in because you're afraid of their capacity.
That's good.
And that's what I want those strong-willed kids to experience: healthy boundaries, lots of trust, lots of safety, natural consequences. You just have to step up and be a leader for those kids because they were born and bred to just lead and take on all the crazy challenges. Yep. And if you don't help them find that passion or that outlet, how to be successful and have that natural moment of failure or feedback, then they're just going to probably fight you all the time.
Yeah, it's good.
That was my rant on
Come
that.
On. It's a good rant.
I could feel it coming.
We didn't know your kid, but we know kids listening.
We do know lots of kids like that.
Talk for a minute about Adeline, because it's a different, just this weekend, she came with you.
She did.
But it's a different, this story, I'll let Brittney tell it because it's really, you're in the mix of it all. But she had a dream, she had something she wanted to accomplish, and it created some pressure for her to go find a solution.
Yeah. So Adeline is our gifts love language kid, right? And At my conference that we had in May for the book release, I asked the girls, will you make bracelets, beaded bracelets that say, mom or dad or fight for family or whatever, all these different things that went along with the conference. And so they did. They were like, okay. I said, you can have the proceeds. Like, I just think it'd be a fun addition at the conference. And well, they made some money. Mm-hmm. They made some good money. And Addie is our little entrepreneur. She is always trying to figure out, how do I make money? Every year for camp, she's figured out a way to make money or do something. And that's what she does. So I think a bunch of this money from my first conference went towards camp. And then she did some other jobs. And she's just wheeling and dealing. This girl, she's gonna do something great. Yeah. That's for sure. So gifts, love language, kid. It's getting closer to Christmas, mm-hmm. right? And she says, I need Christmas money, but I don't have any money. And she said, last year I had some of my lamb money still, which if you don't know what that means, she did 4-H and she sold
sheep, lamb.
Yeah, she sold lambs and, she made a couple over $1,000. So that's dwindled, mm-hmm. As the time, a couple years now has passed and different camps have come up and this and that. I would say she's a saver more than a spender, mm-hmm. but she does like fancy shoes. So
she does.
I will say that the girl's got great taste in shoes. So here we are. She needs money for Christmas to buy people gifts. Yeah. That's the big thing that I love so much about her. It's so cute. So
I can't imagine getting to Christmas and not being able to buy all my family gifts.
Absolutely. Yeah. So she asked me, how much money do I need for each person in this family? And I said, well, let's take a guess of, what could you get for each person around $10 to $15? And she's like, probably something decent. I'm like, yeah, again, she's 14. I don't expect a lot from her, and she's like, what do I do? I said, well, I don't know. I said, I told you before you could sell the bracelets online with my merch still from the conference if you want, and we could give you your cut. And she's like, okay. And she's coming with me to this women's retreat that I just did. And then she left and she came back in. She says, what do you think about me making bracelets for the women's retreat to be able to sell? I said, oh, that's a creative idea. You totally mm-hmm. could. She goes, do you think they'd have a problem with it? I said, no, just throw it on my table of stuff and it should be fine. She's like, okay. And so then she's talking through price and this and that. And then we're going back to how much money she would need per person mm-hmm. and how many people are in her family and blah, 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 and all the things. And so she went to work and I think she created over 20 bracelets or something like that. And then she got a couple of custom orders while we were there. And she came home with over $100. That's what she pulled off. And I got there Friday night. Basically, we had 4 sessions. And mm-hmm. 4 sessions, the girl made $100.
$25 a session.
Pretty much. Yeah. And we were laughing at, she was working this weekend and I was working this weekend. And we had a good time working this weekend. But it was I could come up with a bunch of jobs for her to do because she's 14 and she's got this reference point of, I have a skill mm-hmm. and in this environment, I've seen the market and I know what sells. And I was trying to help make bracelets with her. And when we had downtime, she goes, Mom, your color combination is a little too wild for what people normally buy. So she wouldn't let me make bracelets. Because she's like, my clientele don't like what you put together.
Those aren't selling right
Those
now.
aren't selling. And then she did learn, because some of the word, last time she said, I ran out of all the plain ones and I had more words ones. And so I'm going to make more plain ones because people like the plain ones. And I have more of these words sold better, like hope and love and faith and mom and different. So she's totally taking account for what sells and what does not sell. I love it. And because she has this problem, which is, I want money for Christmas. Yep. I found a solution. I have a skill set. What do you think? And my favor and permission gets her into this space. And I'm like, yep. Run, baby, run. Yep. So your ability to critically think about this I'm happy to make space for. So if you see bracelets on the website available, just know that Adeline has made them all. And clearly I can't make them because I don't know the clientele as well as she does. But it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just such a great example, and it's fresh. This just happened, and it's been happening the last few months. But it's just so fun to watch. Just her little process to go, okay, I can find a solution. And this comes back a little bit, even Seth on our time with him a few weeks back. He's talking about his process with money and his son. And he felt like it was a moment to teach his son about credit.
Yeah.
So it's different pressure, but it's just the understanding of, hey, I'm fine to let you borrow some money today. But the further away we get from today, the more interest you'll owe me. And his son's like, what? No. Yeah. So they get home. Maybe you missed the story. They get home the same day that he borrowed money from his dad. He went straight upstairs. The way Seth said it is he came downstairs and he threw the money at his dad. Like, here. Because he can feel the pressure of, I have a decision to make. If I wait, I think it would cost him $1 a day or something like that. Yeah. It was genius. But it's just the, I think just the opportunity to put our kids in a place where there's learning taking place. I can feel the weight of whether I do or don't do this, and then the outcome of look what I did. We're watching this with all of our kids in different ways. I think with Lincoln, we talk about Taekwondo probably every episode. Oh, that's what we're in. But it's just the place where our son. I was talking to Danny the other day, and this is how he said it. He said Lincoln's probably gone from a cub to a young boy to a boy. And pretty soon he's going to go from a boy to a young man. Yeah. Like Taekwondo has been the thing that's really ushered in the pressure he needed to be promoted. And so we're just looking for those opportunities for our kids to feel some of this because it produces things in them that we couldn't do just by talking. Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, the practical takeaways is from Taylor's story of when he was 4 to Adeline's story just at 14, there's different pressure and figuring out, I don't have to solve your pressure. I don't have to solve your problem. I'm here to guide. I'm here as a voice of wisdom and encouragement. But can I let you navigate this pressure and see what will come from it? Yeah. Because the more we give that space to, okay, there's greatness in there. Do I believe in that greatness? Do I see that greatness? And can I help you find that greatness by allowing a little bit of pressure to do some of the encouraging and again, if you're nervous about it, I would ask the Holy Spirit, like, okay, is this a moment? Yeah. And that pause and reflecting, I think he will show up and help reveal, like, okay, this one, they need a little bit more boundaries. This is one, you're just uncomfortable with it. Do you trust me? So that would be my takeaway is lean into the Holy Spirit and see where you can let pressure happen and goodness show up. Awesome. Wonderful. All right. Yeah. That concludes our pressure episode. Yeah. Yep. And we will see you next week. You don't want to miss it. All right. We have something fun. It's going to be a good one. Yep. We'll see you next week. Bye.